Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we are playing Bant Beanstalk. We have the powerful enchantment up in the house, Up the Beanstalk, and we're going to get that into play and then cast a whole lot of cards that cost 5 mana, but in fact are often free, such as Force of Will and Solitude. We also have Quantum Riddler that triggers the Beanstalk, and of course we can cast Phelia and then target Quantum Riddler after we've warped him in, and then we can just blink him back, and then it doesn't matter that he got warped in. And if we already have a Beanstalk out, we can just target Beanstalk with Phelia and get value that way too. We also, of course, have 4 Tamios, 4 Brainstorms, 4 Ponders, 4 Plows, very good card. I'm excited to have Karakas in the deck. We've got 3 Wastelands to deal with problematic lands, such as opposing Karakases, such as, Tabernacles, things like that. And then in the sideboard, we have tons of additional free counter magic. We've got 4 Forced Negations. We've got 4 Consign to Memory, 3 Hydroblast if we need it, and Terminus, which wipes our opponent's board. This is great against go-wide strategies, and it does trigger beans. And then Carpet of Flowers. We got 3 of these. I'm very excited about it. The first round has already started. Let's jump over there. Opponent is likely on blue-black tempo. I like this because this has access to turn 1 Tamio, followed up by we can get a basic Plains if we want to. We can Riddle, and we have Solitude if we want to pitch an early Leyline. This card is not good until later in the game. But actually, I correct myself. I don't have a basic Plains in the deck. Oh, okay. They've switched to this, which is fine. This is actually a slightly better matchup because they're not going to have Bowmaster. So we drew the Hedge Maze. I was definitely going to fetch that is what I was thinking, just to get it out of the way. I think I just Island Tamio. This could be dazed. This could be bolted. This could be interacted with in any number of ways. It's fine. She's just sent out there to die, basically. That is her role. If they don't flip their Delver, which would be a blind flip, then she can just block. They do blind flip with Lightning Bolt revealed. Okay. So I am going to take this 3, but I am probably going to Solitude shortly afterward. I don't want to get my Solitude dazed. It's more important that we survive than that we advance our own game plan. So this bolt would have potentially been aimed at our face. There aren't actually any other targets. Well, Phelia is in there. Okay, so I'll just take this damage. High likelihood that they have a Wasteland follow-up. Oh no, that's scary. Could be taking 6 next turn. Okay, Force. So here's what I'm thinking. We can actually get our hand pretty empty, especially if we draw a white card. And then we can draw 2 cards off Quantum Riddler. I think the first thing that I want to do is just go ahead and Solitude this one, this flipped. And I'm going to go ahead and do this now while they're tapped out. And I can Force Fight if I absolutely need to, but I don't want to. So we're going to just try to stay alive here. Now I'm going to play this out. I'm going to try to line up a white card so I can Solitude the other card. Oh, that's great. That's very good. So we don't have white mana yet, but I'll go fetch it next turn. But either way, I will be able to get Solitude out of my hand next turn. And we're looking at just taking some amount of damage if they blind flip again, which would be lucky. I think most Delver decks have like a 40% flip rate in the blind. Okay, they didn't. They reveal a Merc though. That is something we'll have to respect later. Okay, this is a cool card. I've seen this. Prof's Eidetic Memory, which means like photographic memory. Draw a card. You have no maximum hand size at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you've drawn more than 1 card this turn, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the number of cards you've drawn this turn. -1. Interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what this does. Yeah, so they have to target. Wait, how do they? Oh, they did draw an extra card, didn't they? Okay, so they immediately get the value. That's pretty good in Delver. Like you're immediately buffing your dude and you're getting an extra hit. All right. Okay, so I think it's more important that we clear this. We can wait till they target. Riddler. Yeah, I don't want Riddler to get dazed, and also there's a chance that I need to force like a Merc with this. We'll see if it flips. I don't care about giving them tons of life. The game will not end because they run low on life. It'll end because we have like some inevitable card draw engine. See what they reveal here. I'm going to put a stop just in case they reveal a force, because I'm almost certainly going to be plowing after they reveal here. They don't reveal. So they may already have the force in hand. It would suck if they played a Wasteland. So I think I'll just wait and see what they do. Brainstorm. I'm going to let this happen because I can fight back. If I Solitude instead of Plow, I will get an extra card off Quantum Riddler next turn, assuming it resolves. But I do think it's probably correct to just be patient and get the most out of every card. The main reason I'm not... I want to see what they do here. I'm going to let them do that. Okay, they're going to attack. I do think that this is just a Plow. And I absolutely could have done that with that ability on the stack to reduce the amount of life they gain. But I'm serious when I say I really don't think that life gain is going to matter that much. So there's a world in which they double waste me and I get off of blue. So I will get the Tundra even though it's tempting to get this Vanna here. They force. Well, I'm tempted to force back. Because I'm taking 5 here. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. The card they pitched to force was the Merc that I was scared about. They could have another Merc. Okay. Yeah, this is a cool card. I might try it on the channel. It's been out for like a year or two, but I'm just going to play this out. I could cycle it. I'm going to play it out. I'm just going to trust in making my land drops and that like we can survive a couple turn cycles. This doesn't do anything unless they have a creature to target with it. But they have a lot of creatures in their deck. This might be the Merc. Corey. Okay, that's scary. Do they have the bobble? They do. Okay. I don't think we're winning this game. I do think this is a favorable matchup, but this is a lot of pressure. Delver on the play is a scary, scary opponent. If we draw exactly one like white source, we could attempt to Solitude, which would definitely turn the tide. But that presumes 1, that they don't waste us right now, and 2, that they don't have days. Come on, white card. Or white land. That is a white land. I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to do it now. I can do it during their upkeep. I'll get a Savannah here because I've got a lot of blue sources. They may have mana to like Brainstorm. If I wait, I think it's correct to just do it now. And again, if this is days, it's just so backbreaking. The game is just almost certainly over. One reason to do this now, yeah, I think that the game is almost certainly over. But one reason to do this now is it doesn't count toward their 2 spells for the turn. All right, so now we are Hellbent. If we were a Yorion build, I would have been able to grab Yorion there and pitch cast to guarantee that it worked. They have a cantrip. They're almost certainly going to have a follow-up land. Or well, they already have the land in hand and then a follow-up spell. So we'll most likely be taking like 6 or 7 here. I'm going to be bringing in all my Pyros or my Hydroblasts for sure. And my Carpets. We have a pretty good sideboard map for this. I've actually built a sideboard mapping for this, and I'll show it in between rounds if you're curious. Okay, so they get to put a bunch of counters on it. All right. Yeah, this is crazy. We're just so... What, 9-9? Okay, we're done. How do they draw them? They double Brainstorm. Wow, this card. Wow. Wow. This is a good card. Okay. And it's been out for like 2 years. It's crazy that people are just now breaking it open. So the Carpets come in and the Hydros come in. Cards that come out are Tamiyo's, I think, are pretty weak against their Pyroblast heavy deck. Karakas does nothing. Oh, wait, I take out all 3 Wastelands. So I can leave 1 Tamiyo. I think that's how I've mapped it. It is probably actually correct to bring in a Terminus just because they are going to win through creatures. We do need to get kind of lucky to line it up. But it is like an additional removal spell. I mean, in theory, we could use Carpet Mana to get there. Yeah, I think I'm going to take out Tamiyo. I'll play this. And it's not that Tamiyo isn't an insane card, but I'm going to be boarding her out in a lot of these matchups just because she's going to be friendly fire with Terminus. And like, who cares if you get Tamiyo flipped if they are attacking you with like 10 creatures from their cutter. This is mediocre, frankly. I think it's okay. What can we do here? I think land is the main thing. Like land ultimately was the main thing last time, even though they didn't waste us. Like they had pressure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna mulligan this. It may seem like a perfectly keepable hand. This, at least we can go get, yeah, so I'll put back the Terminus. That's an easy card to put back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a basic island and I'm going to ponder and try to keep lining up lands. That's why the basic island is in the deck. It's not because of Bloodwind, it's because of Delver. Island. Come on, deck, don't fail me now. Okay, there's a carpet. I'll take that force. It's going to be a while digging out of this. But carpet will be very good, and I want to ensure that it resolves with the force. Okay. So next turn, I think what I do is I just play that second land and hope that they don't have waste. Okay, ponder. That is the slow start that we're hoping for. And if they waste it, at least they're wasting basically a land that doesn't do anything other than make Leyline Binding cheap. And there's a high likelihood that if I find a Solitude, I'm just going to be pitch casting that. Now we'll play a land. We'll pass with force up in a way that we can pay for days. If they play a cutter, I'll just force that. Because that is how you die quickly. That's not the fight. Bobble. So they can potentially see our carpet. I think this is the turn where I'm going to attempt to brainstorm. Hopefully they don't pyro this. I need to find a green source really badly. Thank goodness. Okay, and then what I can do is I can use the green source to play a second green source. So I think we put back Leyline, or no, I'm actually going to put back, well, Phelia does flicker this. Okay, this is a moment of reflection. Okay, so let's hope that they do not have a force. Well, I can force back. Carpet is so important, it has to resolve. And then I can play a second carpet, and then our mana problems are basically just solved for the rest of the game. If that's the case, Leyline Binding is worth keeping around. I think I am actually going to put back the second carpet. And I'll force to protect it. I'll put back Phelia. Now I'm going to go ahead and fetch. We get a Trop. I'll get a Savannah. We're going to carpet. I will force fight over this. They are forcing. I will force back. This is very important for me to resolve. Okay, we're in. That's huge. So now I'm going to attempt to do this even into days. Because I need forward momentum. They do have Delver out. They did pitch a days there, so I think it's less likely they'll have a days. But they could still have a second days. All right, we're in. And next turn we have Leyline Binding to remove their scariest permanent. Phelia found her way back to the top of our deck, even though we shuffled. Good dog. So she'll be able to come out and blink this. All right. So they're feeding the carpet. That's great. I feel very favored from here. That finding that fetch land, I can't underscore how important that was. They're doing the bobble trick to make sure they can line up the card that they need so that they can get this flipped. So unfortunately, if they have like cutter bobble, we're under a lot of trouble. Okay, this is bad. This immediately, like, I'm really impressed with this card. Why is this the first time this has ever shown up on the Be Excellent channel? It seems really strong. So this is a 5/4 now? That's crazy. Okay, well, I'm going to ignore this and I'm just going to go to this because that's the threat that's hitting me in the face. Okay. So if they wait, they can do it during their turn to draw even more cards. All right, let's go to this turn. All right. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. I'm going to add a bunch of white. Okay, and now I'm just going to Leyline Bind. We'll take out this Delver. They scooped to that. Okay, great. We didn't even get to see what we were going to draw. Okay, so game 3. I feel like this is a pretty good configuration. Phelia being able to blink their tokens or like flip their Delvers back over and stuff, I think she's still a 4 of. And the most important thing is the way we die is to sudden like blitzkrieg type assaults. And Solitude is very important to that. And it's good to have a lot of white cards so we can pitch. So often I find myself just pitching her early on. And early on in Legacy means like turns 1 through 2. This hand is totally fine. We just need to find the green mana. I'm going to keep it. We're going to hope that this Ponder doesn't betray us, but we have a second Ponder if we need it. This is the classic Island Ponder keep that Bosch and Roll keeps talking about. Puts on t-shirts. It doesn't always work, but it's better than going to 7 and risking it. I think this is a situation where I'm just going to go ahead and straight go to carpet and see if it works. I have a second carpet, so it's not as scary. Let's see if it works. They have DRC, which is good pressure. They have the days. Okay, so if they have the Wasteland, we're in trouble. All right. They have the Wasteland, then we're back to plan A or plan B, I guess, of pondering to try to find another land. They don't play a Wasteland. That's great for us. Next turn, we can attempt to resolve this carpet with Daze Protection mana. And then I can add white and I can get Phelia out, or I could just Quantum Riddler. I think, what would I want to do with this mana? I think getting Phelia out is probably better. She'll probably eat a bolt. Please don't have force. We're going to take so much freaking damage from these two things if we can't hurry. Okay, it's in. That's a huge relief. So I'll just add blue, and I'm going to add white. Yeah. I'll just go, I'm going to add blue, or I'll use the blue. I guess I could have pondered there. But if I find like just a white card, I'm going to exile this to kill this. So I guess maybe it makes sense to get blue here. But if I find plow, I'll attempt it. Instead of pitch casting. Okay. It's just any order shuffle, I think. We're looking for solitude or a plow. Okay, there we go. And I'll just target this DRC. And if they force it, I can Quantum Riddler a couple times next turn. But we're going to take a lot of damage here, unfortunately. They're very close to Delirium. They've been on Wasteland. Okay. You have to respect their ability, these creatures, the damage output. They have 2 types in the yard. They flip Consign to Memory. That's really unfortunate. They can actually consign this. They can consign the Quantum Riddler draw trigger, but yeah, we're only taking 4 here. It's not the end of the world, but it feels like it. Let's see what we draw. Just make it simple and give me a plow. Okay, Brainstorm. I think I'm going to use the ability here and just Brainstorm. Yeah, I'll just use the Brainstorm mana. I probably could have done that a little differently. What am I looking for? I'm looking for plow. I'm looking for solitude. If I find a land, I can shuffle away one of these Quantum Riddlers. I don't need both of them. Please don't pyro this. Okay, this is actually fine. So now what I'll do is I'll ponder. I'll try to find a white source so I can plow. I'll go like that. Ponder. Can we find a fetch? We found a Hydroblast, which is great. I'll take that. Okay. And I'm going to attempt to Hydro now. And then if this doesn't work, I can still Solitude this. And I'll be down to 1 card. So next turn, Quantum Riddler will work to draw 2 cards instead of 1. All right. We're alive. They consign the trigger. Okay. I forgot that they had the consign. I'm embarrassed to say. I just completely forgot they had that. Okay. But it's out of their hand. Yeah. It's still pretty bad play, frankly. Yeah. I just completely brain farted there. Sorry, my excellent friends. Okay. They're coming in for 3. They didn't play the Eidetic Memory. Okay. We're going to only get 1 extra mana, but let's see what we draw. I think I know what it is. It's just another Riddler, which is fine. So we'll add some blue here, and then I'm going to go and do this and get 2 cards. They can pyro this. All right, we're going to take a bunch of extra damage now because they're going to get another turn of hitting us in the face, unfortunately. But we will get extra mana next turn with this carpet. Yeah, there's the pyro. And this is what Delver does. Like, it basically just gets the threat down and it disrupts you while that threat beats you down. It's like a more sophisticated version of a burn deck. Okay, that's scary. We'll take 3. I don't think my opponent has missed a single flip this entire time, which is I'm trying not to be tilted, but like, actually they may have missed 1. I think they may miss 1. So I think I spoke too soon there. All right. There's a ponder. I'm going to go ahead and add white because that's the color I need to bail me out. I could ponder, go to post-combat, and then Riddler. I think that's the play. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. That is what I'm talking about. Double plows. I do want this Beanstalk, but I need to survive. Okay. So now what we do, we go to post-combat, we add white, and I could just... Actually, it's more important that this resolves than the Quantum Riddler resolves, unfortunately. In case they have days. It sucks, but it's true. So if they just have days or pyro here, it sucks, but okay, we'll get 2 cards. I think if they flip here, it'll be scary, but we're doing all right. They could also just bolt us out. Another freaking blind flip. So frustrating. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's a blind flip. And they've got like eidetic memory, which is not a sorcery. Like they probably were only playing like 23 or so sorceries in instance. Okay, ponder. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. Is there a way that like... So I have to plow this. And we know they have force, but I don't know what the other card is. They haven't revealed it. It's possible they force the carpet, and then I can plow this. So I'm going to add white. They could also force this coming out of exile, but like I'm not going to risk that. So add white. I'm going to attempt to bait the force with this Beanstalk. But they may be wondering, why did you add white? Okay, they let it through. They didn't fall for it. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plow, and then I can try to ponder to find another plow, and I'll still have white up. Let's try this. I mean, they're almost certainly just going to force this. Wow. Wow. All right, this is the ponder. And next turn, if we're not dead, we can just pull this up. We don't have... Like, these are all good cards. I'm worried that they're just going to bolt me out next turn. There's nothing to Leyline, but I could cast Leyline next turn. I'm almost certainly going to just want to cast this, but it is dazeable. So I think what I do is I'll take the force, and then I'll use that to cast the other. Like if this gets countered, I can just force it through. Okay, no plays. This could mean Pyroblast. This could mean they're just waiting to bolt me to death on the stack. Okay. Yes, I'd like to use the carpet. I'm going to add a bunch of blue. And we are going to go ahead and attempt to cast this guy out of exile. And this may be a daze, but at least I get a Beanstalk trigger for it. Okay, Leyline Binding, that's a great pickup. Wow, what does my opponent have? They may have double bolt. Okay, I am not sure what's going on over there. We're still in trouble. I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to go to combat first. See if they pyro it. They don't. Post combat, I'm definitely tempted to just go ahead and play another one. I'll just add 2 blue. And then I'll just blink it in. Warp it in, rather. So I get the extra trigger. Okay, that's a land we can play. They could have Back to Basics or Price of Progress. Okay, so now I can kill one of my dudes if I need to gain life. So I'm less worried about dying. Is it correct to play at the land, though? Knowing that they could Price of Progress me. I don't think it is. I think I just chill. It's crazy, but I think I just chill. Like, our existence is extremely precarious here. Next turn, I can play this out. Okay, Wasteland. Okay, they're giving us the mana. Yes, I'd like to use the ability. Add some blue here. Play out a land. I'm going to cast this from exile. Trigger. So we can gain 4 life at will with Solitude if we absolutely need to. I assume my opponent's just going to try to surprise us. There's the Price of Progress. So they have Pyroblast mana up. I think the play is we go ahead and force, and then we can Solitude. If we force and they counter it, we're just dead. We think that they have a force of their own up. I do need to force this. I think I'm going to go ahead and force. Pitching this. And we'll see whether it works. I draw a trigger. And now they're going to force back before I get my card. They force back. Okay. So now I'll take my card. I'm going to fetch, fail to find, and then I'm going to solitude my own guy. Desperate times we're living in. I don't have any mana up. A daze would break this whole thing open. I was correct to read that they could have this. They could bolt me. I'm actually low enough that they could bolt now. They pitched a brainstorm there. Okay. So it dies. I take 4. I'm within bolt range. Okay. So this most likely does resolve now. We've got Phelia. We get a card. Yeah, playing that land out was a decision I made. And it did cost me a life, which puts us back into bolt range. So, yeah, we're probably dead if they have a bolt. It's going to be very precarious killing them because I want to keep a blocker up. DRC. I'll just exile that. Okay, they don't do anything in our upkeep. Yes, I'm going to use the ability. I'll add some white. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Like that. And like that. I'll draw a trigger. They scooped. Wow. I mean, they could have drawn the bolt. They may have sided out bolt. That's the only explanation I can think for why they would scoop there. That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying deck to play against. See you in round 2. Round 2, we're up against an unknown opponent. On the play. Pretty good hand. This is Island Tomio, and then we can follow up with Riddler to flip. Well, not to flip Tomio. We have Solitude pitching Plow. Because it's unknown, I am going to start with the Island. This deck is mostly blue. And we only splash for Beanstalk. And then the white cards. There are 16 white cards. So, very typical legacy start here until Tomio gets banned in February, which I'm counting on. Windswept Teeth for Forest. This could be the kind of Cradle Maverick. I love that Forest. This is the second time I've seen that Forest this week. Very good Forest. Right, so I would love to remove this, and I actually can. I think I do. I think I'm just going to plow it. And then we'll save this for later. I can get both of my colors here. They do play Wasteland. It could come up. But since I've already... the reason I have Savannah in the deck is so that I can get both colors off this. And also, if you have this and you have Xander's Lounge, you have all 5 colors for the purpose of domain. And I have tried many times to jam red in the deck, to jam black into the deck, to expand the amount of green in the deck. I really just like this blue-white with a very light splash build. So they've deployed 2 threats here, or 2, I guess, mana sources. So Wasteland can clear one of these. I think we riddle. I do want to get rid of this land and just keep their land in check because they have Cradle in their deck. So we'll take that out. And I'll just warp this. I could just crack a clue, but I can crack clues later when I have more mana. The best draw would probably just be more mana. Okay, Leyline Binding's not bad. We are 1 mana away from being able to cast that. But it pitches... I guess I could have pitch cast Solitude. Actually, you know what? I should totally have pitch cast Solitude here to clear that. See what they do. I'm going to wait and see what threat they present. If they present a White of the Reliquary or something like that, I'll Solitude that. But I am going to Solitude something here. Unless they Thoughtseize me, which they may be revving up to do. Badger Mole Cub is pretty annoying. Because this can definitely be Solituded. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the trigger to go on the stack and then I'll Solitude. And you may be like, why are you Solituding? You're like, you can Leyline Bind it next turn. But I want to be able to draw multiple cards off Riddler. Okay, so it's targeting this. I can't target that, of course, but I can target the Badger Mole, which reduces their mana production. Because while he's out, this taps for 2 mana. And so does the Hierarch. So in retrospect, it wasn't necessarily bad that I didn't kill this, because they would have still had the mana of the Badger Mole Cub. They decided to attack for 2. with the Exalted trigger. That's fine. The other option was I could have forced, but I wouldn't be able to use Riddler because this is 5 mana. It's pretty expensive to get that out. Come on, give me a land. All right, so options. I think we hold the Riddler and we just crack a clue here. I mean, I could play out the Phelia, but if I find a land, I mean, a land is the best thing I can find because I do want to ramp up toward gradually casting that. I don't think playing out Phelia is where we want to be here. It's possible I find a Solitude, which I could then use to get rid of the Hierarch. Oh, that's actually pretty good. So if I waste here, it takes it off. It just comes back as a normal Bayou. But maybe that's good enough. I'm playing with fire though. I mean, they are running out of material. I could, in theory, just force, like if they Badger Mole cover again. I think I'm going to do that because I'm really worried that they're going to have a Cradle and that they're going to create just tons of mana. At this point, I do think I force a bigger threat because I'm drawing lots of cards and I'm getting farther ahead. I've got my Howling Mine active and they don't. Okay, so 4 potential mana here. Grist, I think this is a force. Okay. All right, there's a land. Options. I think we just hope to spike like a Ponder or something off this. I am going to go ahead and activate before I draw just to see what I draw. Okay, there's the Ponder. So we can flip her. They don't have good answers main deck, I don't think, to her. We just dealt with the main one, which is Grist. So I will get a Tundra here. And we'll go ahead and Ponder. Their deck does not play the best black creature ever printed, Orcish Bowmaster. Don't ask me why. I actually am fine with keeping both of these. So I'll put this in my hand in case they thought sees me, and then next turn I can Riddle and draw 2 cards off of it. This is lining up pretty well. A lot of it is because we're on the play. This is a tough matchup, though. This is second place at Eternal Weekend Asia. It was a deck very similar to what we're playing against. They may have another Dryad Arbor here. Probably just a Surveil. Okay. So they have the Crater Hoof, like the natural order mana, if they want to do that right now. They could also natural order Atraxa, but I can answer Atraxa pretty. I'm not too scared of her. Once Upon a Time is fine. I'm glad they're using their mana that way because that's not natural order. Okay, Noble Hierarch, not the scariest. The card they picked up off Once Upon a Time was Noble Hierarch, so that must have been a really bad Once Upon a Time, is what I'm concluding. Like, they must have seen a lot of cards they didn't want. So this does do 1 damage onto Tamio with the double Exalted. Next turn, I'll be able to like throw Phelia in front of that and ambush. Or not really ambush because it'll be toughness high enough. So I am not going to throw her away just to get a Plowback and plow. Talon Gates, okay, that's fine. That doesn't really do anything. They're just playing it as a land. Okay. All right, so we draw. Check this out. This is so sweet. Riddler is going to come out. We'll get 2 cards because we only have 1 card in our hand. And now I can plus, and I can even, like, I'll Phelia in the end step, and then I can even, flip one of the Riddlers to have it arrive ahead of schedule. Riddler is just an insane Magic card. Like, I'm really waking up to just how powerful this card is, especially in Beans. I feel like if you're not playing 4 Riddler in your Beans, you may be doing it wrong. That's the conclusion I've come to. I know a lot of people are just playing 3. This is fine. So this is going to be a big chunk. It's going to be 2 on Tamio. They must be really worried about Tamio, is my read. I'm just going to always yield to these. I don't think that's going to be consequential. This is 2. I'll just let it happen because I don't want to throw my Phelia in front of that. Okay, they're tapping a lot of mana here. White is a card that I am a little bit worried about. I'll let it resolve. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fetch. Let's get a drop here, and let's play a Phelia. Okay, best draw would be like a Wasteland probably. No, not Wasteland. Just like a Plow would be great. Or a Solitude. Beanstalk. Okay, so I mean, I could Beanstalk here. I'm tempted to just minus and grab the plow and plow this because it's pretty scary. It's going to have a lot of abilities. I have 13 life. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually do that. Sorry. Thanks for your services, Tomio. Get this plow. Okay. Now we're just going to clear this immediately. That way I can safely attack him with Phelia. Let's go ahead and warp this out. I don't really have the mana to do this first, but I do want this giant body on the table. I'll get a lot of cards here. Okay. So now check this out. I can't play this out. And then I'll get, actually I won't get 2 cards off it, will I? Yeah. I can't play this Phelia out either. Because the thing is, I'll draw a card to replace it. I might draw like a Solitude card. Okay, let's try to draw the Solitude card. Why am I calling it the Solitude card? I might draw a Solitude here. That would be insane. Okay. Okay, check this out. Oh, I'm going to draw a bunch of cards anyway. It's probably better to hold this. Yeah, because I'm not going to be able to get the extra card off Riddler, which is what I was hoping to do. But we are extremely favored from here. So this will come back into play. We're going to trigger Beanstalk when we Solitude later. I'm going to see if they put a better threat out. Okay, so we get a card. Okay, Wasteland's great. It's just another mana source at this point. Or if they play like a Cradle, we can deal with that. Baragorf is not a big deal. This might be Thoughtseize. What is this? It's 1 black mana. Okay, Ignoble Hierarch. So they do have a lot. Yeah, I am going to Solitude in the instep. I mean, I guess I could wait. There's no need to do it now. Yeah, let's just do it during our turn. They're Hellbent over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to waste. Well, I'm going to go ahead and Solitude. Pitching one of these. I'll draw a card and I'll see what I draw. I would like to get multiple Riddler triggers here. Oh, wow. That's so good. I'm just going to wipe their entire board here. Check this out. So that goes. This dies. I'll plow. I can't quite do it. I can't quite bring this out and get an extra card. Again, I'm just trying so desperately to get extra cards off the Riddler, but yeah, I guess I don't play this. I'll just play it next turn. So I'm going to go ahead and attack here like this. This will flicker this, so I'll get an extra card in the instep. Actually, so check this out. I can plow one of these. And then when this comes back in, I'll get 2 cards. Hee. All right. Boom. It's just insane. Like the number of cards you get. And now we've got Force Up. They have no chance. Okay. That was insane. That was disgusting. And that's what our deck wants to be doing. Terminus gets in the deck. I think that's the only change I make here. In terms of cards we take out, I do think they have Wastelands in their deck. We just didn't see any. So I don't want to go lower on lands. I think since I'm bringing in a Terminus, I could take out a Phelia. Tomio is pretty good against their deck that's a whole bunch of beaters that is very removal light. I think I'll do that. So I just like having at least 16 white cards so I can reliably Solitude in a pinch. I know that I'm the only person who's playing like a bunch of Solitude decks and Solitude cards in their Bean stacks, but I really do believe in Solitude. I think it's slept on. This hand's great. This is turn 1 Tomio flipper. If they don't have removal and they don't play removal, they do play Snuff Out from the board, which is almost certainly sided in. But there's just like this long tradition of like Cradle control decks not playing removal and not respecting. And I like someday maybe I'll build one and I'll understand like, oh, okay, that's why they don't play removal. But it seems very counterintuitive to not play Bowmasters, to not play, Fatal Push. I'll keep this. They mold a 5. They are scared, hopefully. Them molding the 5 means Wasteland might be able to just time walk them a couple turns if they start with like a Bayou. I think if they play Bayou and don't play a creature, I'm just going to waste it. But I think they almost certainly will have a Mana Dork. If I draw a white card, I am going to Solitude and waste. Okay, that's fine. They'll probably take Tomio. I am going to waste them here. That's a great rip. We don't have an island, or plains, but I can ponder and potentially find one. They have a forest. This card is so annoying. I can't stand this card. We might actually lose, unfortunately, this card. This is like the one card that, like, just like I was talking about playing removal, it allows you to like disrespect your opponents who are playing removal. Maybe they don't play removal because of the mirror. They're like, oh, my opponent allows someone to Sweepkeeper. I don't need removal. Okay, so here, you know, if I Solitude, there's a decent chance that they just have to eat it. But then if they have more land, it'll look pretty humiliating that I just... But they're down to 2 cards over there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what they do here. Call me freaking crazy, but I cannot stand this card. If I can clear it... Okay, I cleared it. Thank goodness. They must be down to 1 land. Yeah, and now we just don't have to deal with that for the rest of the game. These cards are cracked. So Tomio... I mean, we could Solitude a Mana Dork next turn. If I can get Beanstalk out, which is 2 turns away, then Solitude's way better. I think it has to be Tomio first. So next turn is Tomio plus Sanders Lounge, assuming they don't waste me. That does mean that we can draw the Solitude now. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have the beans down before I Solitude, but if they just have some Mana Dork, I might take it because we have a much better long game. Oh, wow, they don't have anything plays. This is great. All right, let's go ahead and play this out. It might be Snuff Out in their hand, but they can't cast that, which they may have Snuff Out, and then maybe that's why they went for the Bayou, but they may have gone for the Bayou for Thoughtseize. Again, Snuff Out is the preferred removal card. It's the removal card of choice among people who play this deck, so I'm going to presume that's what they have. All right. We just got so lucky that they were forced to basically throw away their best card because they didn't have enough mana. Wow, can I play this turn? Holy cow, I didn't know I had a land drop. Well, that's great. Yeah. I'm not going to flip. I'm just going to get some clues. Hierarch. I will next turn try to brainstorm into a white source. Okay, or I could just naturally draw a white source. I'm going to create clues. I think I'm just going to draw 2 cards per turn. I'm not going to brainstorm here. That may seem like weird and greedy, but like pretty soon we're going to be casting Solitude from hand. And if they do use a removal spell on her, I have the brainstorm ready. And a lot of times people I play against, they're like, he couldn't have brainstorm because he went for like so many turns without brainstorming. And I'm like, actually I do have it. I'll just pass. Okay. And now we'll just keep doing our Howling Mind thing. Okay, there's a land. Yeah, they scooped. Wow. Brutal! See you in round 3. We are undefeated. Running back for the first game of the day after a good night's sleep. Our opponent has been playing 4-color Beanstalk variants. This hand actually doesn't really do anything. I don't like it. I'm going to mulligan it. Like, we could brainstorm it and get lucky and find a way to shuffle our brainstorm, but we don't have a way to cast either of these Beanstalks. Let's think about it. So if they're actually on this, they don't play Wasteland in their list at all. They do play Bowmasters, which is scary. That's the main difference, is they have a couple Thoughtseize and 4 Bowmasters, whereas they don't have Solitude, they don't have Phelia. I think actually I'll keep this on the strength of Brainstorm. And now they could be on a different deck. They were on that a few days ago, though. All right, and just like that, this hand turned out to be insane instead of bad. I'm going to play this out. Again, trusting that they don't have Wasteland in their deck. This could be punished if they've changed their deck list. When you're playing 4 colors instead of really functionally 2 colors plus a very light splash, you do have to make some compromise with your mana base, and one of those is not being able to play as many Beanstalks as you'd like. So here, this is quite likely Bowmasters that's being held up, but I'm not going to stress. I could just go ahead and drop this anyway. They'll probably Bowmaster here if they don't have a force. They do have a force. Okay, well that worked out great. So we got them to exile a Brainstorm in the process. And by the way, I have played lists kind of like theirs. I don't think Bowmaster is where you need to be. I think just having more general removal is better. and simpler mana. Okay, here's Tommy. That's fine. They don't have a third land. That's a gift. We don't have a white source, but we can exile. I think we just... Yeah, I think I'm going to brainstorm first. Because if I whiff on land, I can just solitude. And I can do so under Up the Beanstalk. My opponent hasn't been playing Days or anything like that. This is an opportunity to use brainstorm. Okay, perfect. Yes. This is insane. Okay. So I'm going to put back this and I'll just trust that we'll draw a land somewhere along the line. I think we can put this back because I'd rather have... Yeah, I'll put that back. I'm going to just take my medicine and plow her now so she doesn't flip. Or I could get the Beanstalk down and I could Solitude. Oh, it's so greedy though. I do want to get the Beanstalk down. I actually just realized that my hand doesn't have a blue card, so I would like to draw a blue card for force just in case they play their own beans next turn. They force this again. Okay. So now he has to ask, is it worth just solituding to deny them a clue? I think I'll wait a turn cycle because Phelia can flip her even if they flip her proactively. The card they pitched there was a Ponder. They're not going to like it when I jam this third Beanstalk, that's for sure. They are just choking on Lana. Like, here's the Ponder. This is probably the final land. I'll let it happen. I can't stop it. If they find a land, they can just go ahead and flip her, which is totally fine with me because I've got Phelia. But, it is a risk. I'm going to just be conservative. I'm going to go ahead and kill her. And I'll keep this plow just because it's good against Murktide, which is a likely follow-up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too happy with that outcome. But all things considered, now we have beans into potential Leyland Binding. We do have all 5 colors now. Yeah, double Leylines. I like it. So, obviously, I didn't need to burn the Solitude, but I didn't know I was going to draw Leyland Binding. I could have absolutely just used that to clear something. They are going to get a trigger off this. With the trigger on the stack, I am going to attempt to bind. Just to make it less likely that they're able to do anything. Or they would be able to draw a card. Okay, it looks like they do have something they're going to do here. This might be a Bowmaster. Oh, they're going to bind my binding. And they get a draw trigger. Yeah, this is... So the way this works is they hit that. Okay. Now I get my card. Now this comes in. I'll just bind this because I would like my Beanstalk back for next turn when I bind again and I get another card. They get their card. They've got 3 cards in hand. This is going to be the meta for a while. I really do believe that this deck is strong. And my opponent's playing a variant of it. So now we have force. I'm just going to go ahead and bind again. They're tapped out. We'll see what we draw. Okay, Tommy's fine. I can just immediately flip her, but knowing that they have that many Leyline bindings in their deck, I'm not going to. So they can do what I did where they Leyline bind my Leyline binding to get a Beanstalk trigger back. But I have force up to prevent that from happening. So again, I'm intentionally not flipping her because I don't think it's particularly useful. This is worth defending. Because we get a trigger anyway. Now they have a Bowmaster. That's fine. It resolves. So it is going to get 1 ping on me, and then I'm going to plow it. So it doesn't get the second ping. Okay, so now I get the card. Another Tamio. Okay, so we're not really doing anything, but we can draw cards with Tamio next turn. All right, this is... this could be a force if I was playing Mystic Sanctuary, but I just didn't want to play too many ETB tap lands. It might be correct to play it. Let's go ahead and draw a card. And I'll just do this now around their potential Bowmasters. Okay, just ripping lands. I'll pass. I'll just in-step Surveil here. So we're kind of vulnerable, but again, we've gone up a lot of cards. We've got a lot more mana than they do. Now they've got 5 mana. Riddler with 1 card in hand. Yeah, now they're advantaged from here, I think. I need to draw a Wasteland pretty badly so I can keep them off casting this from exile next turn. They get 2 cards off that. Brainstorm. Their own Tamio. They can attack for 1. Yeah, I think my best draw is probably Wasteland at this point. But I would certainly take like another Beanstalk would be great. Leyline Binding. That's great. I'll just use that on their Tamio, and then I'll figure out a way to deal with Riddler next turn. Like, I might draw an answer. I'll go ahead and attempt to create my clue, just in case they have a Leyline Binding of their own that I need to interfere with. Okay. I'll just get full information before I fire off this Leyline Binding. Okay, this is going to flipper. Oh, we bricked, unfortunately. Drew yet another land. I'm going to just go ahead and flipper, I guess. Oh my goodness, we're drawing so many lands now. I think we're going to lose just by virtue of bricking repeatedly. They force. Okay. All plus. This is not long for this world. I will play out another Tamio, just so there's no interruption in the flow of lands. Okay, and unfortunately, they're going to get 2 cards off of this. Okay, so Tamio is going to flip. I think I'll just redraw a Brainstorm here because Brainstorm is huge in terms of like just taking 3 lands, or 2 lands rather, and turning them into good cards. I'll just keep this on the table for when I Brainstorm. Phelia is great. Let's start with a Brainstorm. I mean, I could just start with a Plow and just take that out, but I have faith that this Brainstorm is going to give us something good. So let's Brainstorm. Oh no, it's going to flip this. I should have attacked, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these cards are insane. I can't complain. Okay. So yeah, we're losing the old Tamio. We're keeping the new Tamio. Let's plus her. I could have gone to combat and added the clue there. So I did lose out on a clue. That was a very minor spew. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle to get rid of the cards I have on top. I'll get another Tundra. So I'll go green, Beanstalk to start off with. See if we draw a force or anything like that. Wasteland doesn't really do a lot here. I mean, I can take them off domain. I don't think that's where we need to be. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plow here. Make sure this dies. I want a Phelia in the end step, so I think what I'll do is I'll just play this out. I'm going to waste them off of... This gives them red, but who cares about that? They don't have a lot of white. I'll just take them off that. I don't think that's replaceable. No, I'll pass. We have to hope that they don't jam yet another. Like if they do land drop and then Quantum Riddler is pretty bad for us. Clue's good for us. It means they don't necessarily have what they need in hand. They are regrowing a Brainstorm. That's fine. Brainstorm. They may be looking for a Leyline Binding for our Tommy. Fetching. Riddler. Murktide. Okay. And because they don't have any beans, like we've just been favored this entire time. All right, so let's go ahead and get Phelia in. She'll probably just get killed, but let's try. Another Tamio. Let's think about this. I think I just go ahead and push this to the side and attack the Tommy. No, I'm just going to plow it because even if it comes back, it's still kind of a pain. Let's try to plow. They scooped to that. Okay, yeah, we were very far ahead with these Beanstalks and the flip Tamio. I think Carpet might actually be worth playing, even though they do play some non-island lands. They are not more creature heavy, but they're different creatures. They're playing Bowmasters, whereas I'm playing Solitude and Phelia. Yeah, I don't know that I make any substitutions. I think I can take out the basic island and bring in a Carpet. Also, aside from Tamio, they don't really make use of any legendary creatures that I can tell. So Karakas could come out. It is nice to be able to Karakas my own Phelia back, but it doesn't contribute to the domain. I think I'll leave it like that. There could be a situation where I wish that I had the basic island in play in my deck, but I don't think they're going to have any sort of like global, like Harbinger of the Tide or anything like that. This hand is cracked. I mean, this is just insane. Okay, so they haven't fetched yet. I think it's quite reasonable to just play at the Xander's Lounge and see if I can get them to fetch before I attempt to carpet. There's a very good chance that I'm going to need a force their turn 2 Beanstalk. If they waste this, it's not a big deal because I have carpet coming. Okay, so this is Underground Sea. This is a force. You always force this. I don't care. Like, yeah, Riddler would be great in my hand, but they're going to force back. It's not a big deal, but that's a force that doesn't happen while they're under the Beanstalk. All right, so I'm going to start with a carpet. Now I'm going to go to combat, and second main, I will attempt to resolve my own Beanstalk. And they may have a force for this too. This is how you lose the game, frankly. Like, if your opponent has 2 forces and 1 Beanstalk, and you have 1 force and 1 Beanstalk. But they have effectively denied me that. They're back up to 3 cards. And now the world is kind of their oyster. Like, if they... Tamiyo. I'm going to try to resolve a Phelia here. If they tap out a Brainstorm mana, or a Bowmaster mana, I may Brainstorm. Ah, brutal. Yeah. We were very far behind here. If I find a Beanstalk, we might still be in it. See if we can find that. Okay, a Plow answers this. And then our own. Phelia is okay, but she's not spectacular. She doesn't have an immediate purpose here. I think I'm going to shuffle away this land too. We'll just find a land later. I'm going to go get a Savannah just in case they have their own carpets. Okay, and I'll go ahead and play my own Tamiyo out because I need some sort of card draw engine. This matchup is all about drawing cards. It's like who draws the most cards, they probably win. Which is how most Magic is, but it's particularly exacerbated by just like how asymmetrical things get when you're the one with the Beanstalk and your opponent doesn't have one, like last game. Leyline Binding, they're going to draw a trigger. They're going to clear our Tamiyo. It was a 1 mana investment. We could free it later with our own Leyline Binding. I think I'm going to take them off this just to make those a little more uncomfortable. It's a worthwhile endeavor because they don't have carpet, most likely. They still have full domain, though. No, they're 1 shy of domain. I knocked them off red. Solitude will be good later. I do actually want to cast that. So now we're in a staring contest, but again, they can break it open very quickly with a Riddler if they find it. Riddler's like 2 cards immediately, and then... Oh, they have a carpet. Okay, well, that sucks. Okay, but they don't have use for the carpet. So we looked at there. This does not have any islands to grab, I don't think. I'm just going to surveil in the end step and just let them have all the mana they need, which is a bad place to be, but that's where we are. Okay, they're going to have to decline use of carpet again. All right, I'm going to surveil. Hedge Maze. Tommy's an above average card. I'll take it. I think she has 0 likelihood of surviving the turn cycle and actually drawing me a card, but she will at least draw a card from my opponent. Hopefully not another Leyline Binding. Okay, I think they have Leyline Binding. If this is Quantum Riddler, I'll just scoop. There's no way we're beating that. But they don't have double blue. Okay, interesting. Why do they pay so much mana for that? They didn't get it up high enough. They could have paid extra mana to go ahead and go all the way up and get a Beanstalk trigger for that. So that was just a 1-for-1. Plow. And I can kill Quantum Riddler before the trigger, so they only get 1 card, or they only get 2 cards instead of 3. Well, they won't get 3. Because this basically guarantees that unless you're completely hellbent when you cast it, you're not going to get an extra card from it. I think we can concede here. Okay, that was a disaster. I'm trying to remember whether they wasted us. I don't think they did. So maybe with the sheer preponderance of, cards they have, maybe I don't really care that much about the Carpet of Flowers. Now that they've seen it, they're going to be proactively fetching their Scrubland and their Savannah and Bayou if they have it. So I guess I'm just going back in. Exactly. I could bring in Force of Negation just as yet another way of stopping Beanstalk. I don't know that that's correct though, because it doesn't trigger Beanstalk itself when we cast it. I think we just stick with main deck configuration. And it's possible our opponent overboards, but we're going to take the disciplined approach and not overboard. I think this is a good hand. It needs mana. I'm going to keep this. So what I'm going to do to maximize finding a land, because not finding a land would be catastrophic, is I'm going to surveil, and then next turn I will ponder. Okay, they open Hedge Maze. I think Hedge Maze is the natural surveil land to have in your deck because you're always casting Beanstalk on turn 2. So, oh wow, they actually bend a Bayou there. So maybe they're not going to respect Carpet. Let's find a land. Tommy is good. If I bend Tommy, they're going to know that I'm like light on land though. I mean, why would you bend this card? I'm going to top it. Come on, land. Even a Wasteland would be okay here. No, I don't think Wasteland is good. Oh my goodness. What the hell, deck? I'm going to take my chances. All right, we're screwed. Damn it. All right. Now my opponent just has the green light to do all kinds of disgusting things. I will stop this. I'll stop it with a Riddler. They, of course, have a force as well. I'll let it resolve, and then I'll force back. And this is what Plan From Behind looks like. I just completely... I mean, I feel like I statistically should have found a land there. Okay. I don't feel like we can waste. They bend this Bayou. We've got nothing going on. This does help me cast a lot of stuff later on. I'm just going to chill. It sucks. It really sucks. But if they miss a land drop, I might reconsider wasting them. They don't miss a land drop. So it was definitely wrong to waste there. They bend a land. Tamio is fine. I can take her out if I need to. And I probably do need to. I don't want them drawing extra cards. Come on, deck. Okay, there we go. So, we can just Leyline Binding her. I think that's correct. What I don't want to deal with is them getting even a single clue. And I don't want a Solitude yet. So I'll go get a Tundra. And then 3 mana will cast this. They can, of course, free her with their own Leyline Binding later. Okay, they don't have a play. They probably have Bowmasters. I'm going to make this move. I don't care about Bowmasters. Like, I'll be able to clear it before it kills me. They don't have Bowmasters. Well, I'm going to ponder for a land. Gosh, why is my deck not giving me lands? I mean, these are good cards. But I did want to develop my board a little bit. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think it'd be greedy to throw these back and then just draw a bunch of bricks. We don't have any stack interaction. We do have Solitude, which makes use of Beans to get us deeper into the deck. Leyline Binding can be cast. So what I think I do is I go like this. Yeah, they do have Thoughtseize in their deck, which is a consideration. I might actually, what I'll probably do is I'll Solitude pitching Leyline instead of pitching Phelia, since Leyline is still extremely expensive until I can find a land drop. We may just be getting extremely lucky. I can't interact with that. I can next turn. I will attempt to Leyline Bind it, but it'll probably be too late. They'll probably have a force by then. They do have a land. This is the Riddler, and oh, it's just Prismatic Ending. Well, that does suck. Okay, so now they have Beanstalk Supremacy. All right. I mean, I think the correct thing is just to go ahead and clear this if we can. They have a force. Okay. So I think we've lost, unfortunately. It is a frustrating mirror to play because it always seems like somebody is way ahead of the other person, and it's never close. All right, so we're drawing Plow here, which doesn't do anything. My instinct is to go ahead and Tamio here, and then we can Phelia in the end step, and then we can at least be blinking Phelia with Tamio, or rather blinking Tamio with Phelia. Looks like they're going to go ahead and do the big Prismatic Ending on her, so they can get the extra card. Yep, that's smart. Okay, She's gone. Phelia's in. There's nothing to blink yet. We could get lucky and draw a Beanstalk or something. Caracas is a nice addition, though. I can give them the Tameo back temporarily. And then I could just Caracas it back to their hand. And then when this comes back, I could take their Leyline. I think that's correct. All right. So if they have Consign, which is not a card you should board in here, but is a card some people might board in here because people don't understand the notion of getting 2-for-1. Consign is not good against triggers. I refuse to believe it. I know that other people do it, but I don't think you bring in Consign against a deck like this. Okay, so now we're going to take the beans. Okay. They're cycling their land. That's a good sign for us. Okay, wow. We're getting very lucky here. I'm going to do this before combat. Just in case I find a Beanstalk, I want to resolve it, and then I want to blink it. This is the land that I've been saying that I've wanted for a while. Nothing to blink. Yeah, I think I just take this land. These other cards are okay. I'm not going to complain about a Brainstorm. Phelia's not always going to be like an insane value where she blinks something and gets bigger. I have been considering going down to 3 of her just for that reason. No targets. Let's hit for 3. They don't have Bowmasters. They could Bowmaster ambush her even at this size, but with Caracas it's hard to do that. I have to wonder what's in their hand. Oh. I can't do anything about that. I could Brainstorm into Force. What's the other card on top of my deck? I actually think that's worth doing. Oh, the Brainstorm is on top of my deck, of course, because I wanted to make my land drop. Okay, never mind. So if they find Leyline Binding, it's just a massive blowout. Really, like so many cards are massive blowouts now. This card, it's difficult to underscore how instrumental it is. To the untrained eye, you might not think that this match is like that much decisively on their side of the table, but this makes all the difference. Do we want to draw a Brainstorm? I think we do. Like, these cards don't do anything in the current context. They're nice. And I think this is just a Tundra for Brainstorm here. And I'll draw the Force along with the other cards, and we'll see. Okay. So this is Bowmaster. I think I do have to plow this. I think it's fine to plow before I see the cards. But this does mean I'm going to take fewer cards. Probably grab a Savannah here. Okay. So what I can do now is I can blink the token out of play. So I will attempt to plow here. And hopefully they don't have a Force as well, because that would be pretty dangerous. Okay, it's done. It's gone. They get their army, which I can push out of the way. We do find a Beanstalk. Okay. So Solitude is good. I can actually hard cast that. I think I just put this on top so I can use that to shuffle. I mean, I could put this on top and then just not use this. Yeah, that's fine. So we get our card. Let's go in for combat. This is where Phelia really shines, is when she's blinking your own Beanstalk and getting you card advantage. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and shuffle now. I'll just get another Tundra because, like, getting the land that makes my Leyline Bindings is not cheaper, is not that big of a deal here. Riddler is insane. So we still have not seen a Thoughtseize from an opponent, but now would be an excellent time for them to fire one at us. Okay, we got the match. That felt extremely uphill, and I'm not... Okay, they revealed their hand. It was all about the battle over the Beanstalks, and Phelia was definitely the decisive card there. I don't know that they had an answer. They had 3 Tameos in hand. Their hand was bricks, basically. Yeah, that... Maybe I was too anxious during that. I apologize if I sound like the most pessimistic Magic gamer, but man, that felt rough. That felt scary. One thing to note about my opponent's deck construction real quick. They only have 11 ways to trigger Beanstalk. They have 3 Riddlers, 4 Forces, 4 Leyline Bindings. We have 16, which is a pretty big difference. And they may have just not had enough ways to trigger it. Round 4, we're 3-0. We're up against an unknown opponent. This is a good stay alive hand. We can't actually cast any of the spells in the hand, though. Our opponent's already mulliganed. They could be on combo. I'm going to mulligan. I think this is a better hand for sure. We have Tamio plus flip. We'll see whether our opponent mulls again. That will indicate that they're probably on combo. I'm going to put back a fetch. Flexible hand. Delta, fetch. They got the Ang Island, as everybody in the comments is asking me to say. Ang. How we pronounce it in the American production. Okay. Delver of Secrets coming in. This is stayalive.deck. So we are going to be able to interact with this. Bobble to flip him. All right. So we drew another land. My instinct is to go Tundra Plow instead of trying to set up Tamio. And then we have Tamio plus a second land to flip next turn. And then we have lots of cards we can put back. But yeah, I'll do that. And this will most likely get dazed, but like I just don't mess around. I could see what they're drawing. This may change how they behave a little bit. They're looking at their top card. And then they're deciding to force based off of this. So that was a good decision. They're down to 1 card. But they will draw from the bobble. And for turn back up to 3. They are likely to flip this. I think that what they saw was they were likely to flip it. Or they were going to flip it, so that's why they defended it. So what I can do is I can play out Tamio, I can block, and then I can brainstorm next turn. And that way, they have to kill the Tamio. Are they on mono blue? Okay, preordain. They're playing maybe mono blue. It's rare that Delver would ever fetch a basic island. Like at the beginning. Okay, they're on 1 land. Daze is particularly menacing here. I'm going to play this. I mean, options. So I do want to play the Tamio, and then I want to block and attempt to brainstorm. I think most likely that's not going to work, but that seems pretty bad, actually. Because if they blow it out... Wow. Forcing again? Okay, well, I think I'll just take 6 here. They pitch a daze. I think I'll just take 6. I'll take 3 more. I'm not going to brainstorm and get an imperfect brainstorm at this point. Like, I've got too many cards I need to get back. This Wasteland is totally dead. They're trying to go all the way with Insectile Aberration. We have 12 removal spells in our deck. And a bunch of flyers that are bigger than this. Ponder. So one thing I'll say is if they find the Merc, it's going to be a full-size Merc. Like, they have definitely put in the cantrips to build a stacked graveyard. Okay, there's the Volk. Darcy, not what I want to see. Solitude's a good start. I will probably pitch cast that to get rid of Darcy. Okay. So, I don't think wasting Delver is where we want to be, especially when they're Hellbent. I'll put these back. I hate to say it, but I think I'm going to just Solitude this. They can get a lot of value. Phelia doesn't really do anything here. Like, Phelia can flip this back to a regular Delver. But we'll take 6 and we'll be at 7 before that even works. And actually we'll be at 6 because I'm going to fetch. So we're within double bolt range. We're within 1 attack range. Still, Phelia is a game piece that does something. Like if they play a Merc out, we can mess with it. If we play Phelia, we don't get the benefit of the Surveil. I'm going to take a chance on Phelia. Because if we get to 5 mana, Solitude totally stabilizes this. It's just a question whether we can get there. I'm not optimistic that we can. I'm just going to get another Tundra. I've got plenty of green sources in my hand. We're going to go ahead and play her out around Daze. If they just rip a bolt, it's sad. She can return this back to normal state, but it can easily just flip back over. But if we draw like a Beanstalk, we get 2 draws, and that will maybe give us a white card that we can use. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they're just going to get so much value here. They've been to Tarn. There's an old saying that if your deck can't beat Delver, your deck sucks. And we're about to see whether my deck sucks. Technically, we beat it in the round 1, but I need to be able to beat it every time. Not every time, but like 70+% of the time before I'll feel safe. All right, don't be a land, please. Be something relevant, like a plow. That is death, I think. Like, we can attack in, flip it, but like there's a good chance they'll flip it right back. So we'll definitely drop to 3. But I'll only be a turn away from Solitude. I can Surveil as well along the way. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this and just hope they don't flip. But I think most likely they will flip. It's a pretty good chance. They don't flip, they're attacking for 4. And we'll be at 1, effectively. Because I will want to fetch to be able to play the Solitude out. Moment of truth. Moment of false. All right. Damn. All right. We got freaking Delver there. So, Carpets come in. Wastelands come out. Hydros come in. You can't take Forces out, but I'm going to take Tamiyo's out again. Am I going to take all of them out and bring in a Terminus? I mean, Terminus does answer our problems. All of our problems that they're presenting are questions of creatures and whether we can remove them quickly enough. That's just all Delver is a creature burn, essentially. Clearing the way for your creatures, which I guess is how most Magic decks are. It's just that ours is like clearing the way for your creatures with a whole bunch of extra steps. Yeah, I'll run it back. I'm going to keep the Forces in. It's tempting to take them out, but they do work with Beanstalk, and they might be clutch in terms of like getting the critical removal spell through. Our deck is extremely white, so there's a very high likelihood that we're going to have cards we can pitch to Solitude. Now, had I pitched Phelia to Solitude instead of played Phelia out, which effectively did nothing, maybe we would have survived. Maybe we would have drawn into an answer in time. I would invite you to leave a comment with a timestamp, or at least mention round 4 when you were attacking, or when you decided to play Phelia instead of just pitch casting Phelia to get Solitude out. Like, whether you think that was correct. Obviously, we have the information that it didn't work out. This is a turn 2 Beanstalk. I could turn 1 Island. No, it has to be. So what I can do is I can turn 1 Surveil, and then I can Karakas Beanstalk. And then, yeah, I mean, that's 3 types. So it'll be 1 away from Leyline Binding. It feels really bad to throw back this hand, but Beanstalk is actually not that big of a deal. Like, they're not trying to win through card advantage. They're just trying to overrun us as quickly as possible. So it's with a heavy heart that I seriously consider throwing this back. This Karakas does nothing. It doesn't actually help with Domain, actually, so we're not close to Leyline Binding. I think I'm going to mulligan this. This is a much better hand. I'll keep this. We don't have access to white. I'll put back the Force. So now I have a plow effect even if I don't find white mana, but I'm going to try to find white mana. Opponent kept 7. There we go. This is insane. So Phelia is the strongest candidate for being pitched to Force. We definitely want to use the plow. So I want to keep all these, and I have to keep them all. It's just a question of the sequence. I think I take Phelia now just in case. But I wouldn't want to Solitude into a Daze, so it doesn't really matter. I guess I could just take the land first. Huh. There might be a situation where I want to pitch Phelia to Solitude, and then also double Hydroblast. Yeah. I'm going to put the Hydroblast on bottom. Okay. Again, there's no world in which I'm going to risk a Daze at any point during this process, unless they successfully Wasteland me 1 or more times. Then I might play into Wasteland. Okay, they are not doing anything. Is that correct? I don't know that I've seen Delver just not do anything. I think I'm actually tempted to just play this out because I don't care if one of these gets wasted, but if this gets wasted, it's a big deal. I'm still on the Solitude, pitch Phelia to Solitude train if we need to, but it might be worth playing out Phelia if they just have a kind of a slow opener. They may have Merc. Oh, interesting. They kept. Okay, so not a Wasteland start. Cutter. This just gets Hydroed. Even if it survives, I have another Hydro on top. This is the reason you put Hydroblast in your sideboard. It's not Blood Moon. Nobody's playing Blood Moon anymore. Okay, that was a big deal. They may have another. So I will play out this Tundra, and then I'm ready for the second one. And I can also Phelia. Phelia can get rid of the warrior tokens or whatever they are, monk tokens. Yeah. Our hand just lined up immaculately against what our opponent's doing. If they have a third one, that'll be trouble, but like, wow. And I don't want to Phelia and get dazed. I don't want to give them any daze equity. I'll just be patient. We're drawing wild. That's a good card. We're getting closer to Solitude. I can surveil this turn cycle. I could probably just grab a backup Tundra because like Wasteland taking me off white would be pretty catastrophic. Do you have the third cutter? Okay, that I can deal with. Okay, they're casting Ponder now. That's fine. My intention is to go ahead and Phelia in the end step, and then I'll just plow this out of the way. Because I do want to start actually, pressing damage and advancing us towards some sort of goal. And there's a chance that I could draw like a Beanstalk or something. I can surveil to try to make that a reality. All right, and I could have plowed earlier and denied them this selection that they've gotten. But I wanted to Phelia, and I did want to also surveil. So like I'm basically giving them selection so I can get my own selection. Okay, so Phelia is going to be able to connect here. Actually, yeah, they may force this, which would be great. I can't surveil, but I will deny them the information of what's on top of my deck. I just, again, what I said about getting wasted off of white, it would be too catastrophic. Price of Progress is a card that they could absolutely have here. I actually think I'm going to go ahead and make this the window here. They could double daze this. Okay, they didn't. And they paused like they might have a force. Okay, that is something I can pitch cast, but we're just chilling. Nothing to see here. If they clear this, it's totally fine. I could just have a replacement Doggo on the way. Doggo dropshipping. All right, they're checking our top. They have a really weird hand. Land number 3, which I'd love to see. Bolt's fine. So Phelia 1 for 1, which is pretty much the floor for any creature. Okay, and they're going to bolt her too. Oh, that's fine. Okay. All right. Can we draw a relevant card like I mean, my goodness, I'd be so happy to draw Quantum Riddler here. I feel like I haven't seen him. Where's he been hiding? Okay. Or we could do that. They know about this. I'll just pass. You always want to cast during their turn, so they have to use their mana during that turn to like bolt her. Okay. Can you imagine how dead we'd be if they'd resolved either of these cutters? Because they had tons of baubles. 3 baubles. Tons of land over there. I hope they're on the 3 cutter list and not a 4. Because I don't know how we're going to beat subsequent cutters. Not with our slow draw. We're in. They are opting to bolt now. Unholy Heat is fine. That is Unholy Heat that is not aimed at my Quantum Riddler. Come on. Do it. Quantum Riddler. Please. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to complain about that card. Card's good. Okay. Looks like Merc's coming, which is not a big deal. I'll just plow in the instep. Another land. Love to see it. Delver is a deck that can function on 2 mana. And yet they have 5. So if they don't clear, if they have a force for this, it's pretty bad. And they do. So now they're hellbent. If we draw a land, we're going to win this game. It's probably as simple as that. Come on, land. Perfect. All right. I think we just win. Like, this is such a devastating sequence because now we've got a lifelinker and we've cleared their biggest creature. But, they could Corey and do a few other things over the next few turn cycles. They did use almost all their sorceries and instants, so even if they have another Merc on the top, they're not going to necessarily be able to win with that. This is why I love this card. It's just like, if you do manage to get to 5 mana, it's incredible. It's so swingy. They don't have surveils, so we're going to start gaining life and chipping away at their life total. Let's draw Riddler. Xander's Lounge. I'm actually thinking about cycling that. Is that bad? I think it is correct to cycle it here. I've never cycled it before. Come on, give me a Beanstalk. Or, that's not terrible. I mean, that'll cost a little bit more mana, but we got tons of mana. We don't have any cards. So this gets rid of Cutter, this gets rid of anything they put out, and we just keep hitting them. All right, there's the Riddler. So they could have days. I'm just going to do it. I will attack first just in case I need to use Leyline Binding to save it from something. I don't know what that would be. So I always like to warp it anyway, just because you get extra cards that way. So we're going to get 2 cards here, assuming this resolves. It looks like they're fetching because they're going to hardcast Force on this, which is fine. They drew all those lands. Oh, what? Okay. Yes, we get 2 cards. Insane. And now I'm just going to go to... Ooh, yeah, we can cast Leyline Binding. I'll just go to the next turn. And then we can play this out of exile. And what I like to do is get like 6 lands out so I don't get dazed when I play this. I think it's unlikely that they're going to interact with our Brainstorm, but I would like to find a land and just be mana efficient here. Okay, so we'll put that back. I'll just draw this. Now, a card they could have is Price for Progress, but I have so much life it doesn't really matter. I can respect that by just grabbing an island here. Blue. Blue. I'll leave a white up. I could have attacked first. Okay, what are they doing here? The Pyroblast is fine. Again, this has already been a 2-for-1. It's like a 3-for-1 now. So we'll just continue the slow beats. We're up to 27 life now. DRC. It is not Delirious. Let's see. They have land, artifact, instant. So they can't get sorcery in there. They could instant into surveilling a sorcery or a creature. I think it's totally fine. I can just respond with the Solitude if that happens. Another Solitude. Okay. I just attack and see whether they block. They're not going to block. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Solitude again to deny them value, like selection. And yeah. Solitude's such a good card. I'm really impressed they're still playing. Like, I would have probably conceded a long time ago if I were them. But there's like Reed Duke. He's famous for never conceding, no matter how bleak it looks. He'll play it out just in case. And I totally respect that. But that's not me. Like, it's just too soul crushing to be up against like a board state like this. Not going to Terminus when I'm the only person on board. Let's go ahead and come in. One more turn cycle and they're dead. No reason to cast any further spells. We got Hardcast Force up. I'm just going to chill. I will play out this land. Okay. So that was what like getting Escape Velocity looked like. I like this configuration a lot. I definitely want the forces in even more on the draw. Terminus potentially being a 2-for-1 is just really strong. Game 3. This hand is pretty good. Double Riddler. Force blue card if we need to save our lives desperately. Hydroblast. So I think turn 1, Island, hold up Hydroblast. We can even force back if we need to clear a Cutter. This is where the deck being almost completely blue and almost completely white really shows its strength. Okay, they don't have DRC, or they would have used that before they did this. I think they may have another Cutter hand, but why would they use their bobble now if they had a Cutter? They bobble themselves and opt to keep the card. Another Leyline Binding, which will be useful very late in the game. Unaccostable basic island here to help us with this Hydroblast. Instep Brainstorm. Yeah, I don't like this. I think that they should have waited. You got a better Brainstorm later. The later in the game you cast Brainstorm, the better it is. Generally. Because you're putting back like a bunch of redundant lands. Ponder. I think they're just trying to ramp toward a big Murktide, which might actually be a winning strategy considering I don't have any removal in my hand. If they have days, it's going to suck because I am going to probably Quantum Riddler next turn. I don't want to wait around forever. But that might actually be a trap. I'm just desperately afraid that like I'm not going to draw land. And they're going to draw Wasteland. Carpet's an insane card. Again, I just need to find the mana for it. I'm going to risk it. This is basically like 2 mana to cycle, but better. It's like, it's such a cracked card. It's so insane. Show me the green mana. All right, Phelia doesn't help us at all. I mean, like I could Phelia and then do the Riddler trick to get Riddler ahead of schedule next turn. I am very worried about forcing anything here because I think they likely have days. If they have the cutter, I will force because at least I'm denying them a trigger. Because if they want to force back, then that's the second spell, so they don't get the dude this turn. And I just want to maximize the likelihood of us surviving. Next turn, I could just Hydro. Please don't play a Wasteland post. That would be devastating if they were to waste this. But the moment my carpet gets in, we're golden. Another... Oh, I have to clear this. I have to clear this. I have to respect it. And you want to interact on your turn just because, like, if you do it during their turn, they could daze and do something else. Yeah. All right, so we managed to clear it at a very high price. We're just sitting dead in the water waiting for the arrival of a green source, but then things will change very quickly. Delver, please don't waste me. Okay, Bobble, they can use this to do the trick to flip Delver more reliably. So we're almost certainly taking 3 next turn. Wouldn't mind a Solitude, but really I just want a green source. Okay, Solitude. I think I wait and I just pitch Leyline Binding and then I can attempt a Phelia here. Oh man, I need to stay alive. So I'm thinking about this. The thing I'm thinking about is like we wait to upkeep and we see what they reveal. I don't care about them getting extra life. And then I'll Solitude pitching Leyline Binding. That way I can pay for days. But we're going to get some information this way anyway. And we're going to do all this during their upkeep before they get the opportunity to draw the card. Okay, so they look first. So they found a card. So we do want them to reveal it so we get the information, but that is going to give them 2 extra life, but I think it's worth it. A Braid. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. A Braid doesn't do anything against our deck except kill Phelia. Please don't force this. I should have probably pitched Phelia there because, like, that a Braid, like I said, it does literally nothing against our deck except kill, like, a Solitude late game or kill a Phelia. I could just play the Phelia and force them to use the Abrade, which is a stall tactic. I think it's fine. We're just getting a 1-for-1. I do think they're going to just kill her. Why leave it a chance? DRC. Already Delirious. Abrade. Surveil Trigger. Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have these ley lines hanging out than have this dead dog. And when I say dead, like, I think figuratively of her just, you know, vanishing from the plane and coming back and stuff. I don't want my animals to suffer. Okay. Can we have a green source? Please. My kingdom for a green source. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to do it. Hopefully they don't daze it. Please don't daze it. Okay. Please find me a green source. Oh, okay. Well, it's not a bad card. It's just not a card we can use immediately. Like at any point, they could just waste us into oblivion and we are just completely screwed. That is the nature of playing against this deck. Wow. They don't have the Wasteland, it doesn't look like. I'll take the 3. It's not the worst. Next turn, I do have Plow on their creature. But I'm very worried. Let's do it now. They could force negate this. Maybe I should have waited. Okay, that worked. That's huge. It's a huge burden off. But like Murk is coming. And the thing I'm really dreading is just the Wasteland. I want to emphasize, I've got a lot of land in my deck. You don't have to do this to me. Here comes Murk. It's pretty big. Not quite full size. It looks like it'll be like a 7/7. So I'm going to attempt to plow this. And if that doesn't work, we are pretty much a dead man walking. They could even... I'd like Spell Pierce because I've just been so bad with mana this game. But I feel like if I find the green source, I will win this. I feel very confident that I'll win if I find a green source. Here goes nothing. Oh my goodness, that's huge relief. Every turn they don't waste us. Every turn they're not hitting us for like 7. Gosh, they've got 5 cards in hand. Okay, there's the Wasteland. And now my deck should give me the damn land. We've seen 2 lands out of, I think we've got like 17. I took out the 3 wastelands, but those don't really help anyway. Come on, land. Okay. Let's see if we can find a freaking land. Oh my goodness. All right. So this does mean that I have to shuffle away one of these lands, but I'm not going to wait, because if I can get carpet out, or if I can get beanstalk out now, if I wait a turn cycle, we'll get another land. That's the safe thing to do. I'm just going to chill. They're not presenting death. So I'll draw the second land, then I will carpet, and then I'll beanstalk. Okay, that's fine. All right, this is like the difference between me like a year or two ago and me now is like the wisdom to know that you should just be patient. Let's go grab our Savannah. Please work. This will be so backbreaking. Okay. I am going to use this, and I'm going to immediately attempt to put in my beanstalk. We'll add a bunch of green. We are doing it, friends. We are doing it. Another land. All right, I'm going to go get a tundra, and I'm just going to ley line mine this. And even if they counter it, it's not the end of the world. See, I have 3 mana. Yeah. They could absolutely daze this, but we get a card. Hydroblast is a great one. Now we have Force Up. I think we just won the game. We survived, and then we got our mana under us. And that is the story of beating Delver. Surviving and getting your mana under you. I don't know what's in their hand. I can only imagine what's in their hand. Like a bunch of Pyroblasts, maybe? I am going to use it. I'm just going to go ahead and try to cast out one of these dudes. I'll go like that. Wait. Yeah, like that. Does that work? Do I need more? Okay. Healthy 8.5 minutes on the clock to their 9. I get the trigger regardless of whether they pyro here. I can hydro. Yeah, this game is super over in my humble opinion. I'll just chill. I am struggling to think of what they could have. Obviously, Price of Progress is good. This could be Unholy Heat. Why are you pyroblasting now? That's what I want to know. You could have stopped it on the stack. Denied me a draw. Unholy Heat. I will force your Unholy Heat and draw a card. Solitudes is a great rip. Now, like basically any win con they have other than just Cutter with lots of tokens, we've got that under wraps. Another DRC is fine. That's just going to die to Solitude next turn. I'm going to go ahead and respect Price of Progress. I'm not going to add any more land. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just add white, and I'm just going to wipe this out now. Again, I'm just going to play extremely conservatively, because if I lose this game, it is 100% on me. From here. Draw trigger. And then I can safely come in and attack. I've got a Hydroblast in hand now, so I don't have to worry as much about Price of Progress. I mean, it would only do effectively 5, because I'd have to fetch and fail to find. I'm not going to play with the lands. I'm just going to be super conservative. They've got 28 life. It'll take a while to kill them. But they're drawing 1 card per turn. I'm drawing probably more than 1 card per turn. I don't care about this. I'll use the ability to add a bunch of blue, and then I'll warp this out. Draw a card. Leyline Binding's great. Draw a card. At this point, I am kind of tempted to play out a land, because I have Plow on one of my Quantum Riddlers if I absolutely need it. But what I can do is I can just chill and get the other land. Again, like, you all may be like, oh, why are you playing so sheepishly when you have a Hydroblast in hand? And that's totally legit. Like, I could definitely cast this Ponder here. Maybe I will cast the Ponder. Just try to find a force and a blue card. Solitude's great. I think I'll just hold the Solitude, and Riddler's on top, and I won't fetch. All right, we will pass their turn. Okay, so I might have to fetch away Riddler if they put something like a red spell on the stack. They just gave me even more mana, which is great. So now we have the potential to gain 8 life if we absolutely need to. I would not fault anybody for scrubbing forward to the next round. I really feel like this is a lock. I'll just clear this with Solitude. If they get a Surveil, it's okay. I'll just wait till my main phase. I'll draw another one of these Riddlers. This carpet is just insane against them. Like I was playing against my friend who was on Delver the other day, and he's like, I just can't beat you when you have carpet. Okay, and I'm going to narrate. I just lost my trackpad. Oh, there it goes. Okay, good. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Let's tap this island. White, white. Cantrip. We'll clear your only threat, and then we'll come in for 8. I think this version of the deck is way better against Beanstalk. They are bolting here. I guess I could hydro that just because I don't really care about life gain at this point. This is a bolt that's not aimed at my face. Okay, let's go for our hug, and then we'll just pass. And the next turn, I'll play another Cradle Riddler. But it's important to keep the Hydroblast up just in case they do pop me. Because they might have multiple pops, and that's like really, how do I lose? It's multiple pops. Brainstorm. I just crossed under 5 minutes. But I'm going to just need to attack like 2 more times. Another one. I think I am going to deal with this one on the stack. I could absolutely ley line mine it. They have 1 card in hand. I'll just go ahead and add a bunch of blue here. Cast the Riddler. Draw a card. Xander's Lounge. Draw a card. I think I'll play this out so I don't have to go to discard. Again, I do have the ability to fetch twice, and then I would be taking a total of 6 from Price of Progress. And then I have the ability to gain life if I need to. Like nothing does it. Merc doesn't do it here. They'd have to have literally double pop, and that would kill them too. Bolting me. Price of Progress. Okay, they had it. So I'll just go plow here. Right, and now they die and I do not. Right, let's see. I'll go ahead and fetch just to make sure. It doesn't matter, the game's over. They're about to take lethal damage. Going out on their own pop. Just failed to find. I'm there's no reason to do this, but it's just like, why not minimize the damage? Okay. And technically we didn't even need a plower creature. That was precisely what I thought they were winding up for, was just some desperate attempt to burn us out. And I definitely could have used the Leyland Binding to deal with the DRC instead of using the Hydroblast and just avoided all that drama at the end. So that was a misplay on my part, but I was so far ahead because the nature of the deck is you just get such a huge edge that it's not even that big of a deal. Like you can make little punts, and that's one of the reasons I don't really like this archetype, but I do like winning, and this is a control deck. I would love to win through like Jeskai control where every single decision matters, but I'm fine with just overwhelming people and still winning in an elegant way. I mean, we did make meaningful decisions there. This was not just like, stomping style, like, okay, I'm going to keep this hand and now the rest of the game is going to be dictated mostly by what I draw rather than what my opponent does. It's not that type of gameplay. It is very reactive and I really enjoy it. But again, I do lament the fact that power creep has basically made it to where you can't have your Jace the Mind Sculptor and your Teferi Time Raveler and your Narset victories anymore. It needs to be these just draw insane number of cards type cards that are also threats and also enablers. This is there was like that statement about Bane Drifter. Like there should be cards like Mole Drifter and there should be cards like Bane Drifter, but there should never be a card that's or Baneslayer Angel, right? Mole Drifter and Baneslayer Angel. There should be great finishers and there should be great enabler utility creatures, but there shouldn't be creatures that are both. Well, folks, this is both. This is the most egregious instance of a card that is both, because it is absolutely a great enabler early game and it is absolutely a great finisher, as we just saw here. It takes a while, but it does finish. See you in the final round. We are 4-0. All right, final round. We're up against a likely mono blue tempo deck. I like the Xander's Lounge into Leyland Binding. I'm going to keep this. Farm Riddler is a great way to reload. We have 2 forms of removal here. If they get early Murktide, I will probably just attempt to plow Tomio if they open with her, but they don't. So this Island Ponder is lending credence to them playing a mono blue tempo deck similar to what I've been playing on the channel. I am going to lead with Xander's Lounge, and I'll pass. I get a Savannah, and then I have Leyland Binding up next turn. They are a 4 days, 4 Wasteland deck, but they don't have Wasteland, which is nice. Astrological Planetary is fine. Okay, Riddler. I do want to respect this. I don't want to take unnecessary damage. I think what I do here is I just go ahead and probably Savannah and Leyline Bind the actual Planisphere itself. They could Boomerang Basics it. They could Boomerang Basics it. I think I just hit the token. And I'll leave the Planisphere, and they'll be able to equip it to something else if they want to. But I am not going to exile this because, again, if they have Boomerang Basics in their deck, and if they use it, it's really bad for me. Okay, they are. That's fine. But it would be worse if they Boomeranged this back and got the whole thing. I guess I would get this back in hand. Okay, lots of islands. I think this is a Quantum Riddler turn. I can Surveil. Just trying to get up cards. I like to cast these twice. Okay, we've got plenty of lands. So I don't want to plow this turn cycle, but they don't have any hasty beats in their entire deck, I don't think. So this is back. Tommy. It may be correct to just go ahead and plow the Tommy here. I'm definitely going to get a... I think I'll Surveil here. That's an above average card. I'll keep it. So first priority is plow Tommy. Make sure that works. Okay. Because I have this other land in my hand, I could ponder and then not necessarily shuffle. Beanstalk is definitely good. Solitude number 2 is good too. I could take one hit from this. I don't want this Wasteland ever. I think it's a high likelihood if I Beanstalk, it just gets countered. I don't really care if they daze my Quantum Riddler though. But maybe the play is don't do anything here. I think the odds of them having a daze are very high. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just play out this and I'll pass. Then next turn I have Beanstalk into Solitude, Quantum Riddler, lots of stuff. It really just comes down to how much damage we're going to take here. Murktide is no big deal. This does not actually grow this, which is nice. So I'll take one. It is going to be a big deal if my Solitude gets countered though. So I want to draw a Solitude. I want to shuffle immediately because I'm not going to want to draw that off of Beanstalk. I'll just get another Tundra here. Let's go ahead and try. Let me just make sure that they're not playing back to basics in their deck. They aren't. They don't have it at all in their 75. I think I just go like this. Beans. They may force this. They do force that. Okay, that sucks. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to Solitude. And then I'm going to Riddler. They forced that too. Wow, okay. So I'm going to get 2 cards off this Riddler. But I'm going to take a ton of damage now. Got another Solitude. Okay, so hear me out. Their last card could absolutely be Daze. Did they pitch Daze this year? They did. I don't think they have a Daze. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and Brainstorm. And try to find a white card, and then I'm just going to Solitude. Perfect. Put these back. I just don't want to take all this Murktide damage. All right. So we cleared that. We're going to take 3 here at least. Maybe more. But then we're going to be able to start playing Riddlers every turn. Okay, they scooped to that. Wow. That was freaking fun. Beating another tempo deck on the draw thanks to Solitude. I'm very proud of the decision to put this into my deck. It's been insane throughout the entire league. This is my contrarian thing that I do. So Carpet definitely comes in. Wastelands come out. Obviously, it's even worse in this matchup than it was in the other matchup. Terminus absolutely comes in. We'll take out a Tomio. I think those are the only changes. Consign can do stuff, but again, I've made my opinion on Consign very clear. I think it is purely a sideboard card for Eldrazi, and this is a great hand. Leyline Binding doesn't do a lot, unfortunately, but it does have lots of land. I mean, if they just come exploding out of the gates, there's not a lot we can do. But there's a lot of stuff they have to daze. This Leyline Binding is really bad because Karakas doesn't count toward it. Karakas keeps coming up as a stinky land. Like, it has done a few things, but I'm still not convinced that this shouldn't just be another Tundra. I'm going to mulligan this. Am I? Yeah, because I could hit, like, Carpet. I could hit lots of better stuff than this. This is actually okay. I'm going to keep this. I'll put back Terminus. So we'll just lead Xander's Lounge. It'll probably get wasted, and then we can deploy Tamio the subsequent turn. But I definitely don't want the tempo negative play of playing Xander's Lounge like on a subsequent turn. All right, and I definitely don't want to have to force anything here. What I'd like to do is probably, yeah, they're going to waste here, which is correct in my humble opinion. But they do have a turn one play. It's a Tamio. Okay, I don't want Tamio out there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this. Then I'm going to go ahead and Solitude pitching Leyline Binding. It's really bad at this point. Okay, so we 2-for-1 ourselves, but we got rid of their very powerful card. And now I can just play a Tamio on my own, and that will likely get dazed. But all this is in service of buying us time. I don't want to force anything because I do want to brainstorm to find more land. They daze. Okay, that's no big deal. That's a 1-for-1. And that daze could have potentially hit a Up the Beanstalk or something really good later. Okay, they don't have a play. I'm just going to Tamio again. They're brainstorming. If they daze again, it's totally fine. Like, basically, I'm just trying to naturally draw land. Now that I have her out, like, they may have Dismember in their deck. They are playing 4 Dismembers, so I think likely that's going to hit. It's also worth noting that they have a Spell Pierce in there while I'm looking at their deck. 18 lands. Okay, Planisphere. This is not the fight. I can blink the token if I find a white source. Oh, I would really like to hit a land there. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Tamio flip. Okay, that worked. So, unfortunately, we didn't hit anything. We're totally screwed. Yeah, I mean, like, none of this does anything. So we're just chilling, waiting for Tamio to die while we force stuff. All right. Plus, and we'll pass. And I think most likely they're just going to have like a brainstorm or something like that to make this more powerful, and we're going to lose her very quickly. But she is going to buy us a little bit of time. If they play a second cantrip type card, it may make sense to force just to keep Tamio around an extra turn. I think I am going to force this. That might seem desperate, and it is desperate. We're desperate. But I don't want them to get even more counters on this, because this way they have to attack like 3 times. Or at least twice. Okay, so it gets debuffed, and Tamio takes 2. Now Tamio goes back up to 4. I think she might survive another turn, unless they have another double cantrip thing. All right, and they can just boomerang basics her back to my hand if they don't want to deal with her and they want to go for my life total. But this is just buying me time. Our hand is strong in the sense that Phelia comes in and she just completely gets rid of the hero. Another Planisphere. Now this is 4/4, but it's not enough to kill. So they can choose to attack me this turn, or they can attack Tamio. They are continuing to attack Tamio. She'll buff again. She'll debuff next turn, and then she'll die. So this is our last dead card. And of course, if we find a green source, this card becomes insane, but we have to find that. So I think this is likely going to die here. They have a lot of power on the table. Yep, that gives +2 to both of them. So now they can attack with 1 and hit me with the other. So they can hit me for like 5 this turn, I think, unless they have another thing. Wow, they have another land. Shuffling. I mean, they may be able to get this up big enough to kill this. They just would need another Planisphere. Okay. We don't have Wrath of the Skies in our deck. We have Terminus, but we don't have white mana. Okay, so I'm taking 6 here, and Tamio's dying. Pretty devastating. I have like basically 1 turn to figure this out. If I find Carpet, or if I find a green source for Carpet, like I think I can do a lot. Good game. There's no way we're surviving. That was brutal. Okay. That one just didn't work out. Yeah, I mean, we're getting like bad, lumpy draws, frankly. Like both the previous round and this round, desperate situations where I'm like trying to dig so hard to find a green source for my carpets. Maybe I should just keep hands that have a green source just in case I draw a carpet. I have 3 of them. Yeah, I think that was me losing to myself more than them beating me. I do like Terminus in here. Yeah, I think I'll just submit. I'd love to have a trophy if my deck will allow it. I think this is a favorable matchup. This is a great hand. I'm going to keep this. So I think this is just Surveil. And then next turn we can Ponder. We're just trying to stay alive while we get our lands on the table. course, Tommy is there, and now I have to deal with that. Frankly, like I don't think we let them create any clues. The game will go long. They will cash in those clues. Hedge maze. Looking for carpet, exactly. A plow would be welcome. You know, I don't really want this. Is this greedy? I don't think it's too greedy to put away a land that doesn't really do anything. Leyline Binding. I think I'm going to start with the Ponder, and then I can keep one or more of the cards, and then I can Solitude. We're going off force when we do this. There's another Solitude. Quantum Riddler is good. I think I take the Quantum Riddler now. I've already made my land drop. Now I am going to go ahead and Solitude, pitching Leyline Binding. If they force here, I will just do it again. That's fine. Bye, Phelia. I would have loved to get you in play and do the Phelia Riddler combo, but maybe I'm playing too defensively. Maybe that was the play. But it feels like several turns away, and this Tamio is bearing down on us right now. Next turn, I have land into Riddler. I believe I have land on top. I hope I stacked it to where land was on top. I think I did. So they would have flipped Tamio there. So I'm going to draw 2 cards off this if it resolves and if they don't daze it. Okay, so the moment of truth. I believe I stacked the fetch on top. Okay, good. So the pitch was a Ponder, so they may very well still have daze. But the upside of this resolving is just too high to ignore. We didn't give them an opportunity to daze this last game, or last turn. If this gets in, I feel like we'll be extremely favored, but I don't think it's going to get in. Yeah, that's a bummer. I think we were going to lose now. I think maybe it was correct for me to just be slow and let the Tamio accrue value. Yeah, this is devastating. Take us off our carpet mana. Now, we're drawing wild. Solitude. Okay, so they have no permanents on the table, but like they're very favored because they don't need a lot of permanents. We do. Okay, they don't play anything. Phelia. So at least I can clear one of their big scary threats if they do a Merc here. Well, they do a Merc here. Let's see what I draw. Oh, so I could Phelia here. They could dismember it, and then they're hitting for 6. The safe thing to do is just kill it with Solitude and to do so before they get to untap. It just feels so sclerotic, like we're getting nowhere. But Phelia doesn't do a lot on her own. I really wish I had a blue card so that I could protect Phelia. I think I'm just going to do it though. I think, like, again, this is my stand. I'm gonna try to just. I don't have faith that Phelia is going to do anything. Like her turning that back into a 3/3 is good. It's not necessarily game ending. If we find another Quantum Riddler, we're totally back in it here. Quantum Riddler can still get us out of this. We have 1 Solitude left to clear this. I think we'll actually lose to this, unfortunately. Because we're just going to have to play on blue mana for the rest of the game. Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. I didn't see this in their sideboard. They do have this in their sideboard, and it makes sense to bring it in. I just neglected to notice it. All right. Yeah, like basically it's Quantum Riddler, forced to protect Quantum Riddler, draw enough lands that we can get Quantum Riddler back in. We can win off just Quantum Riddler, and we have 3 more Riddlers in our deck, so I'm not going to concede, but the odds of us winning are sub 5% here, I think. Planisphere, I could have forced that. My instinct is to just force to protect Quantum Riddler. I think I'll just force this. Like, what am I waiting for? They get the buff. That would dramatically increase their clock because they would get a second draw for the well, they wouldn't get a second draw, but they would get I don't know if that was correct. I'm just spiraling. See if we can find a land in a Quantum Riddler. We're dead. This probably won't stick. If it does, it can help us draw a couple times. I can block. Good game. Yeah, I think I just screwed up really badly that final round. And that would have been a trophy. So that's a disappointing end to the league. But I think the deck is good. Some observations. First, I don't like Caracas. kept coming up. Like people are like, Crocus is insane. You got to play it. There were so many instances against those tight, like, and we faced 3 different tempo decks where this card is just jank. It's terrible. But this, having another Tundra, is totally reasonable. The other thing is I think we go down to Phelia and we go up a Wasteland. Now, that's 21 land. That's a lot of land. But if you consider the sheer volume of colorless mana in our deck, we have, of course, Phelia has a colorless pip, but we also have colorless mana that just cracks Tamio clues, which is great. Beanstalk has a colorless pip. Solitude has 3 colorless pips. Quantum Riddler has 3 colorless pips. We don't have to use these to waste our opponent. We can use these to potentially just play out this mana. The other thing is Carpet is so strong that I'm seriously considering going up to a 4th one. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you think about all the things our deck can do with this mana, you know, Riddlers, Hardcasting, Solitudes, like in basically every game we resolved it, it was GG. It's just so strong. So if we add this, now we have not reduced the total volume of mana. If anything, we've actually increased the volume of mana in the deck. The other thing is you might be like, well, you should be playing a basic planes that you can like potentially play to drawing. It's extremely rare that people play Harbinger of the Tides. Like or Harbinger of the Seas. I've seen that that was the first time I've seen it in maybe a month. Like nobody plays it. Nobody plays Blood Moon anymore. There are a few Moonstompy players, but they're generally not going to make it to the advanced stages of the round because the deck is fundamentally just not nearly as powerful as it used to be. So you should always like build your deck to optimize for what you're going to face in the final rounds. And that is almost always going to be Blue-Red Delver and maybe Blue-Black Tempo. So I did love the Solitude throughout. I felt it was really good against the Tempo decks, just having and it wasn't out. We could have drawn it, but we'd already used 3 of our Solitudes. So like we probably weren't going to draw it in time there. And we were just drawing chaff. So which is why I felt comfortable conceding. Leyline Binding's hard. It's hard to justify, frankly, but it does trigger Beanstalk. And, you know, playing the Xander's Lounge, which is basically an island that gets wastelanded and comes into play tapped. I mean, there's a serious cost to doing this. Now, we did play against a Beanstalk player that was playing Orcish Bowmasters and things like that. And if you add black, you can suddenly splash. And let me show you what that deck looks like, by the way, if you're curious. Also, I'm going to take out a Terminus. It is good, but it's too kind of like arbitrary, like whether you get it or not. I'd much rather just have a Carpet here. Like basically we just want to enact our game plan. Then if we take a look over here, this is Dark Bant Beans. This is essentially what our Beanstalk mirror match opponent was playing. They weren't playing the Witherblooms and the Thoughtseize, but the mana base is very similar in that they had a Bayou. They had a Scrubland in theirs. There's also an Echo Baronin version where he was playing a Scrubland and he was playing Bowmasters. I just don't think it's necessary. Like, Bowmasters is pretty low. It's really just played in Blue-Black Tempo, and you can clear a Bowmasters with Plow or, you know, one of your other removal spells. You don't need a Bowmasters to answer a Bowmaster. Your deck is not trying to win quickly. I did like Witherbloom because it can blow up, you know, Cutter. It can blow up Beans on the other side of the table. It can kill a Bowmaster. It can do a lot of things. It can kill Thalia. It can do a lot, but it didn't feel like it was worth stretching the mana base to be able to accomplish that. The other thing this deck had was like everything is an island except for this Bayou. And what you could do is you could pretty reliably hit Mystic Sanctuary. But what was that really getting back? Like it was getting maybe a force back. You had to play Lorien Revealed in order to be able to really get value out of this. And I don't think it's worth playing Lorien Revealed. The format is pretty fast. And spending a turn cycle, like it comes up all the time where you need to get a land immediately and you draw Lorien instead, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll wait an entire turn while my opponent's beating me down with a DRC and a Delver. It's not a good feel. And this can get an island in a pinch, like if your opponent Blood Moons. But again, I encourage you to just not worry about Blood Moon anymore. It's just not represented enough. So I think this is how I'm going to play it in the next league. Just better mana. Not having a mulligan. I think I had a mulligan at least one hand because it had Crocus and it just felt like janky. There is a problem with like sometimes you'll have a Phelia and they'll have some creature and you have to kamikaze your Phelia. But if you're kamikazing your Phelia to get a Quantum Riddler back in play or to blink a Solitude or something like that, that's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. She's like well worth it. She's just like an expensive ephemerate at that point that you have to kind of prepay the turn before. So you get to attack with her. I don't want to go lower on white cards when we're playing this many Solitudes. So I think like this is where my brewing has taken me. This will be the next iteration. I'll publish another video next week where I play this version of the deck. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, I realized that like that final round, there's probably a path to victory if I like thought more ahead. My instinct though, my heuristic is you always kill Tamio because Tamio just spirals out of control. And sure enough, they did have the brainstorm. Like, yeah, I felt like I had to kill her. And there was a line where I could have, like, if I wasn't interrupted, I can't remember. I think they did have a daze. They did have a force. Like, you really need a lot to come together to be able to play Phelia turn 2 without her getting dazed or pushed or dismembered in that case. And then you have to be able to cast Riddler. And of course, by the time you're casting Riddler with Phelia out, they know that Riddler is going to get blinked and they know they absolutely need to stop Riddler. So if they have a daze or if they have a force, they're going to use it there. And then Phelia just attacks for 2. I mean, like, big freaking deal. A lot of lists aren't even playing Phelia, but I still feel like the dream is worth it. You could cut this and you could just put in, I mean, I hate to say it, but you could just put in a bunch of prismatic endings. Those would have been insane in this league. If I'm cutting, I'm so tempted to just put that in. Yeah, I mean, it's a white card. It can trigger the Beanstalk. We saw our opponent do that. One thing I'll say is I haven't been encountering a lot of constructs lately. So a card you could absolutely play in the shell would be, maybe we do want 1 Phelia here and then we want 2 prismatic endings. Because you never have to worry about having redundant Phelia if you have exactly 1. If I were to go through these cards one by one, absolutely correct to play 4 Plows, absolutely correct to play 4 Brainstorms, Ponders, Tamios, Beanstalks, Forces. Riddlers, I think, is 4. Some people would not agree with that. Leyline Binding is probably 4 if you're going to the trouble of putting Xander's Lounge in your deck. So really the flex slots are how many Solitudes do we want to play and what other cards do we want to play. So with this, we have a total of 15 white cards, which is more than enough, I think, to support Solitude. A lot of people might still be saying you should be playing a Basic Plains. Basic Plains is really awkward when you have like a wastable blue source and then you have a Plains and then they waste that and you have no way to ponder or brainstorm or get your Tamio out. I think I'm going to stick with this. All right, so this will be the next version of the deck. I'll put a link to this in the description as well. I really enjoy this archetype. As I said, like, I love pure control, and this is a pure control deck. Some people may not be like, well, it's not as control as Jeskai control or Grixis control or whatever, because it's kind of like doing its tricks, and it's really like you're just trying to get a critical mass of, you know, cards on the table and then go off. But you go off over multiple turns through yielding card advantage over multiple turns with your 5+ mana value cards. But I don't agree with that sentiment. I consider this to be a full control. If somebody tries to gatekeep you as like, you're not a real control gamer, because real control gamers play a bunch of basic lands and try to win through Stoneforge Mystic or, Fourth Era Lingus or whatever. Like, don't let them shut you down. When I was getting into playing control, I had a lot of people that were telling me I was doing it wrong by just having like tons of duels and trying to have really reliable mana instead of, the robust mana and then win with like some crazy ruination toward the end of the game or whatever. A lot of people will be like, Wasteland doesn't belong in a control deck. You'll still encounter people like that. They need to wake up. Wasteland is very much a control card. It's basically a free spell, and you can play it, and this is effectively a 17 land mana base with 4 additional spells that, like, instead of paying with your mana, you're paying with your land drop for that turn cycle. And then, of course, as I said, tons of colorless pips. So I'll try this, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.